Yeah. So, all of those are A major chords. And this is going to be a little bit about triad inversions, which might sound fancy, but really, a triad inversion is just a group of three notes, and you just change the order of how they're stacked. So, you're always going to have your root, third, and fifth. Those are your three notes if you're a major triad. So, root, third, fifth. And you're just changing the order that you get those notes in. So instead of it being root, third, fifth, it's third, fifth, root, or fifth, root, third. And the way those are stacked, that's what gives you the different inversions. So root inversion, first inversion, second inversion. All those are a good thing to practice is this shape. So we'll do it in a few examples. We'll do A major first. For our A major chord, we want to find our root, third, and fifth. Well, by playing the fifth fret of my low E string, fourth fret of my A string, seventh fret of my A string, that gives me my root, third, and fifth in that order. So root, third, fifth. The specific notes being A for the root, C sharp for my third, E for my fifth. And if I want to try that G, for example, we take the same shape. Root, third, fifth. Because this is G, the specific notes are going to be different. So we get G, B, D. G for the root, B for the third, D for the fifth. So moving that around is a quick way of figuring out what your root, third, and fifth are. So if we do our A major example, the first one that we're going to do all the inversion shapes on the first three strings. So I'm taking my E string is going to be open. The B string is going to be the second fret, because that open first string gives us our E note. Having the second fret on the B string covered gives us our C sharp note. And if we have the second fret of the G covered, that's going to give us our A note. So that's our root, third, fifth. So that's an A major chord. It's just your root inversion A major triad. So it's not too fancy to play, but if you want to get technical, then it sounds real fancy. Because you can call it that A major root inversion, or A major triad root inversion. And yeah, so there you go. That's the first one. Now we're going to take those same three notes, but we're going to put them in a different order. So instead of starting with our A note, we're going to start with our third note. So that's C sharp. We want to find that on the G string. So we go all the way up. So we find our C sharp, which is going to be the sixth fret of our G. And then after that, we're going to want our fifth note for that chord. So that's going to be our E, which you find on the B string fifth fret. Then we're going to want our root note. So root note being A, that's going to be on your fifth fret of your little E string. So all those together I use my first finger to cover the 5th fret on the E and B strings, and my middle finger just reaches up over and gets the 6th fret of that G string. So that's your first inversion. Go back down to that first one we did, which is actually, if you look at your A major chord that everybody knows, depending on how, however you play it, it's just the first 3 strings of that chord. That's your root inversion. Up to your first inversion. Now we're going to go to our second inversion. So this is where we're going to start with our E note on the G. So we're going to find our E note on the G. It's all the way up on the 9th fret. So if we're starting with our 5th, our E, the next note we're going to want is our root. So it's going to be A. And then we have our 5th, our root. Now we need our 3rd. And our 3rd is a C sharp. So this shape might look familiar, because when you're playing your D, that shape is your second inversion shape. So doing that, what you would refer to as your D chord here, if you play that all the way up here on the 9th fret for your G and E strings, and your 10th fret for your B, that's your second inversion of your A major triad. So our root inversion is the 2nd fret of the G and B strings with the E string open. Root inversion. Now I'm going to go to my first inversion. So that's my middle finger's on the 6th fret of the G, and my index finger is covering the 5th fret of the B and E strings at the same time. That's the root first, and now I'm going to go to the second inversion. And that's the 9th fret on the G, 10th fret on the B, 9th fret on the little E. And then if you wanted to go up again after that, we've gone, 12 frets, so it's going to be this shape, just way up here. So that'd be the 14th fret on the G and B, and the 12th fret on your E. So yeah, those shapes, work on those, get comfortable with them. One of them you already are comfortable with. You can just try moving that shape around, and that's the same thing with the other ones. Just get comfortable moving those shapes around, because when you learn them for all of the different keys, so the ones that I went through in this video were for A major. When you learn them in B, it's going to be the same shapes, just on different frets. So it's really important. You get comfortable with those shapes, and you get the muscle memory down for that. Then it's just a matter of putting those shapes that you're comfortable with in a different spot on the fretboard. And you'll pick them up real quick. So yeah, enjoy that. It's a good little start on those first 3 strings. I'll go through examples of all of them: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G major, and then we'll get into the minor examples from there. But yeah, work on that. Have fun noodling around with that. Getting those switches. Not necessarily super fast, but just the time that it takes you to go between them. Get that nice and even. And then make sure you're hearing all 3 strings clearly as you switch from one to the next. Cool. Enjoy that.